I just chose these charts at the beginning of the 3 years ago, at the beginning of these classes, that these would be good ones to grow through, to understand a little bit more. My understanding certainly of Jung and Freud has evolved and changed through doing this process and spending all the hours on these charts. Now, I look at his. This is the RASA10, my astrology program, but there's little eccentricities, so I have to remake it, make a new program. Hopefully, get that done next year. But this puts, this has the progressed sun going from 12 degrees Leo up to 0 degrees Virgo. So this is the 18 years before the sun went into Virgo. Okay, May 18th, 1903. So I wanted to look at, I'm looking at these phases because they go through three main hexagrams. So, well, there's 4 because it goes into, in this first one, it's in 84. I mean, it's 84, 85, so he's only 9 years old. So by 12 years old, when he had his fainting fits, here's the progressed sun conjuncting Uranus and then squaring the moon in 88. So this is when he was not going to school. He's feigning so he could get out of school. And he spent a year not going and being a problem, and the parents were worried there's a problem. But this was the Uranus conjuncting, his sun, progressed sun conjuncting Uranus in the 7th house. So there's 2 forces in relation, one to give energy and the other to pull it away. By feigning, you're pulling away, and you're not coping, so you're not part of something. So in a way, his sun to Uranus was breaking away from his normal sense of what relationships were. And his sun has a natal square to Neptune, which is kind of carried forward. So the evasiveness, to losing, the fainting, to letting go, to avoid something, that's partly in his nature. That was in his nature at a very early time. This was also marked the shift from the hexagram of pushing upward, and just changed the hexagram of conflict to 87, 89, up to 90. So by 90, it goes into 18 degrees Leo, goes into the next hexagram. These are like pentens or phases. You can see the pentens. Well, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm just following this for now. There's many streams to run through on here that interpenetrate each other, but these 6-year graphs were significant, because then from 1990 till 1997, when it went into 24 degrees Leo, it was in the hexagram called oppression exhaustion. So 1890 to 1897, it was in oppression exhaustion. So 1890 to 97, we hardly have, he was a student, and by 96, his father died. His father died as his progressed sun squared Pluto. So not only was Saturn conjuncting his midheaven, but his progressed sun was squaring Pluto. It hit a certain nerve of fear, of being alone, of hearing his father died. There's a strong issue there. Like, his normal reaction to fear is moon's conjunct Pluto. He's not going to show it, but it's going to go in, and he'll have to deal with it inside. At least it's safe there to do. So, like this oppression, exhaustion, he's not really going through school. He's doing things, but he's not married. He's single. He's not happy. We saw the Venus and those things being not so happy. But then somebody, I can't keep going like this. But his dad dies. He can't keep going like this. He has to go forward. His moon Pluto wouldn't want to go forward until he had to, and the sun comes up and hits that. Boom. It squared the moon back when, just after he was in that year where he was being fainting and avoiding going to school, and he said he understood neuroses from that. But these are the 2 sides of me. It's the one side that's smart and always figuring things out and learning things. The other side of him isn't always live up to the clearest example of. It tends to make things, his life, a little more complicated, or perhaps even guilt-ridden, because how do you set the example? So the square to Pluto was certainly a significant thing. The sun squared Pluto. I can't be like this. I can't be like my father. I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And he's gone. Now what do I do? I can't talk to him. What's next? So then the Pluto went into 24, the last section of Leo. And the last one of Leo is, we've dealt with this already. It was like in previous charts. It's before completion, or inappropriateness is the theme of the hexagram. And this whole period was his finishing his degree, getting his doctorate, starting to work at university. But really, at the last stage of this, it went into it squared to midheaven in 1902. So the fear of the Pluto was carried forward. Then it opposed Saturn shortly after that in 1898, and there's nothing really put around what was going on in that time. But that's Dad's gone, whatever. It's confronted what's his ambition, what he's doing. So like he's going in, but then he's determined to get his degree. But it's not till it hits the square of the midheaven that things start to change. How do I get the career? How do I get out of where I am? I don't have dad, I don't have the family, I don't have support. So the Saturn's already squared his moon, set off the complex. It squared Pluto, brought in the fears, opposed to Saturn, made the judgment of feeling, held back him at his purpose. Then it squared his midheaven, and he gets his degree, he gets his PhD and gets a job, but the job isn't really it's a start. It's not getting where he wants to necessarily go. And then the sun went into Virgo. So I want to look into these in this phases a little closer. So on this one, here we go. I think this is closer up, 3 to 6, 3 to 12. Okay, this is still going forward after being married. It's going through in Virgo. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead a bit further than this. Okay, this is a much more, the first one is doing the chart for each degree. It gave a position for each degree and put in the aspects as it moved forward. This chart is calculating 1 minute and 40 seconds of a degree. It's really small movements of the progressed sun. This is a really close-up view on the last degree, 29 degrees of Leo to 0 degrees of Virgo. So from the blue up top to the blue bottom, that's 1 degree. There's all the stuff happening within that degree. So it's just going in detail, seeing much more detail. So he gets his degree. I figured that must have been May or June of 2002. So hexagram's it's in 2907 or 8 of Leo, line 1 of the hexagram. Then it moves forward. It stays in line 1 this whole way until 2003. But in this process, he gets married after he gets his degree, gets married to a rich person and really established by February 1903. And within 3 months of the marriage, he brings another woman into the relationship. And that's as his progressed sun moved into Virgo. Just as the sun moves into Virgo in 3 months, boom, he's thinking and he's off in another way. I just want to see what the next chart is here. If we can stay on this one, I'm going to stay on this. I think I'm going to stay on this one to work with. This one is 10 minutes. It's going on to end the relationship. So, okay, we'll get to that. But I do want to take a look at this period because in a funny way, it's going through the end of Leo. And one of the things as it went through this end of Leo, Regulus, the fixed star, the heart of the lion, was in this degree of Leo, in the 29th, 30th degree, or 29 to 30 degrees of Leo. And his progressed sun would have gone over that time too, probably as he got married. He got his degree. No, I think it was just before he's got the star, got to be somebody, gets married, then he goes into Virgo. And so like, there's two textures, there's his experiential, personal, passionate stories and his connections to people, which was not that reliable. And there's the established career. He had 2 different sides to himself, the 2 different sides of his chart. That's why I tend to see him more as the seesaw, but it's kind of worked them 2 together so you can sort of see it almost like a spike, but I still would tend to hold it as the seesaw. Okay. Okay, what I want to do is pull up the hexagram. So at this first level, okay, we had the Leo, Aquarius at the marriage. It was Leo, Virgo pentan, Pisces subpentan. Okay, and then when he started the affairs, it was Sun in Virgo with a Libra pentan, Venus, and the Aries subpentan. So really things distinctly changed as it went into that Virgo. So I want to look at this last degree and see the the PhD, getting the PhD, having the regulus one over something, just know what's happening, is in this 1 degree. And there's the subpentens, this subpentens. So I'm just going to try and, okay, let me just pull up the hexagon first, and we'll just start from there. Now we're just curious and looking at some of the mystical connotations within this, but it's pretty, I find this pretty incredible. As the stuff went into Virgo, his progressed attitudes started shifting to more analytical rather than the solar pride Leo. And was the next 30 years where he built up his analytical psychology. Okay, so analyzing the seemingly Sun-Neptune undefinable. Okay, and I want to get to Leo. Cancer, the end of Leo. Where are we here? Okay, completeness, before completion, inappropriateness. So we're going to look at I'm going to go through the symbols first. So fire above, water below. This theme is running for 6 years going up to this. So this is his whole time in university, master's, PhD. This is the whole time leading up to this and including this. Fire above water, lightning in a storm, clarity without discrimination within. What is appropriate is obvious. One can be intolerant of the smallest faults. The challenge is to improve one's own character before questioning the character of others. And he had a puzzle between his mom, who was losing it, and the dad, how he dealt with it. So he had a lot of judgments tied into mom and dad and how things should be, and not wanting to be like mom or just what to do, like puzzle. That's the moon Pluto. Mother didn't have an easy time when he was born. Surrender to the greater good. Inappropriate action cannot be maintained for long. A timing holding together. Examine problems. Let the need determine the actions. One must be worthy to take the lead. Words must be heard. The strong need guidance. The judgment. Clarity without doubt within. One's inadequacies become apparent. To succeed, one must work on the roots of character. Good intentions are not enough. If one does not practice what one preaches, humiliation will soon follow. One can see the danger. One is challenged to take the right approach. Okay, so this is the whole 6 years leading up to the culmination of getting his degree and I had to get the degree. I can't do it without getting the degree. I got to improve myself to get the PhD. So he gets the PhD. He's going to have to be respected for his position. He get jobs. He's got authority. His identity is starting to be formed. But there's still more challenges. How does he live up to it? So once he gets the degree, he's still feeling, what do I live up to? I'm not there. So let's see, poor timing, inappropriate behavior, responsibilities will increase with the darkness. One wants freedom and glory, but is not inclined to work for it. Out of touch with the priorities of others, mistakes and judgments will be made. One needs to exercise discrimination and make an effort to help where it is needed. Okay, that's a little section based on the Penten. So I'm not going to go each of the lines. No, I'm not going to go through each of the lines. I'm just going to go through the last line, which is the first place. They go through the lines. In this case, it goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's in the first line. So this is the line of 29 degrees. That's interesting. We went through this in the last chart with Donald Trump.